Imagine when they start coming out with self-driving cars.
That's what they should do. I think that is a massive market. So that's in play in America, right? In the States, it's in play. You're allowed to have self-driving cars.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't brought it in over here. So self-driving meaning...
So Tesla messed up a few times and somebody died and this, that and the other. And then, but I didn't realize, have they actually let it happen now?
Can't hold me to this 100%, but I'm sure I've seen people having self-driving cars. I think the way it works is they put it in the sat-nav. You have to at least touch your hand on the steering wheel a couple of times to make sure that you're still in charge of the car, you're not sleeping. Yeah. It will approach roundabouts, it will slow down, it will know which exit to take, but it just monitors everything. Man. Now that is what they need to focus on. Stop worrying about speed limiters and like this is efficiency to try and drive the whole world forward.
Man, that would be amazing one day.
I love driving though. I don't want self-driving cars.
Driving's great. It's great. Like everyone loves to drive. Well, us car enthusiasts love to drive, but for efficiency, you don't want to drive every single time. You've gone out, you've had a 100 or 200 mile drive, and you just want to sit down now and just let it drive you back while you do some work or you check your emails, so whatever. Cool.
He's thinking more about Mayfair.
That's exactly what I was going to say. George is thinking about Mayfair.
He's definitely thinking about...
George, they have it now. They're called taxis.
Imagine how many people would stop from drink and driving.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I think they need to focus on that. Use your resources correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Next topic. Could this be the end of Maserati? The group that owns them, Stellantis. Okay. The group that owns them, Stellantis... Yeah, it was a Greek name.
It is actually.
They have said that they're axing any of their portfolio brands, which includes the like of Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Jeep, and Vauxhall, that aren't making profit, right? And these guys, Maserati, only managed to sell 6,500 units last year, which then amounted to a £69 million loss.
£69 million. In how long was that? That loss was over 1 year period.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. That's £69 million loss so far in 2024.
And half a year.
Based on that, you're probably thinking that they're going to go up to like 110 million loss by the end of the year. And that's for a brand that's been around since 1914, I think I read.
But they have changed hands a lot, though.
A lot.
Like, a lot. So they were owned by Ferrari at one stage. Fiat owned them once. Like, they had gone through a lot of ownership. So it's not... like, say, uncommon for Maserati to lose money and go bankrupt and to, so I think the problem is, I think they've only just got their one good model, which is the MC20, which is, again, you can get big discounts off them already. The Levante, all those other models, they're just not really hitting the mark on them, I think they're nice, but...
Maserati's always had that association of being the budget Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
You said it a lot more politically correct than what I was thinking.
I don't want to say that the other way.
Poor man's Ferrari.
Because...
But it's true though. So do you know, this is an interesting fact. The Ferrari California was initially designed to be a Maserati, but when it was made, it was too expensive to be a Ferrari. So they had to, it was too expensive to be a Maserati, so they had to turn it into a Ferrari.
I never knew that.
And then you speak to a typical Ferrari owner and they say a California is not a real Ferrari. So... listen, anything that makes people happy to drive is a great car, but for me personally, I'm not a fan of Maserati.
Really?
I don't think they don't have a place in the supercar world.
No, I'd say that's a little bit... That's controversial.
Okay, you mentioned...
That MC Stradale.
The Maserati Gran Turismo MC Stradale. Yeah. A great car, great sounding car.
Yeah.
But I'd take a E63 over that.
I think that's...
of that gen, though, I'm saying.
Yeah,
back then.
So 2010.
Yeah.
Between 2010 to 2015, you've got the MC Stradale, which would have set you back the best part of 100,000, 80,000. Now, for that sort of money, you could probably go and get yourself a DBS. You could have got yourself a Ferrari FF.
No.
Not brand
Ferrari
new.
FF
Not
back
brand
then,
new.
no,
Not
it
brand
would have
new.
been a lot more than that.
Not brand new, but used. So you'd also save yourself in depreciation because the Maserati you'd lost 50% in that time, whereas the Ferrari FF you would have lost only 20%.
I think there's a lot of brands you need to say no to before getting to a Maserati. I mean, there's so many other good brands that,
Yeah, I mean, I get
problem.
it. I would have probably gone for like a Porsche Turbo S.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The funny thing is, I feel like they've gone downhill because 10 years ago, we were doing really well with Maseratis. We used to do quite well with Gran Turismos, MC Stradales. The convertible version they did as well. The Centennial edition they did. There were actually some really nice cars. They sounded crazy.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, they just dropped off the cliff. The
Back
MC20s.
then, the engine was the same as the like F430 and stuff like that, right? They shared the same engine, didn't they? Did they?
I don't know if they shared the same engine, but they would have
Not
the same
entirely sure.
components.
Stradale. All right, maybe that's my mistake, but
It could be. I'm not entirely sure on that. I know the gearbox was shared at one stage.
when Ferrari owned Maserati, I believe they shared a lot of the same kind of components, and there was models that shared the same engine.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's not the case anymore,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You look at a Maserati right now, and just like you're saying, it doesn't give you that feeling of that's a supercar, right?
They're making diesel
Yeah.
4x4s. What supercar brand's making diesels? Makes zero sense. I just think they've lost their persona. They were meant to be a supercar brand.
Yeah.
And now they don't know where to go. They don't know what direction to head in. Are they making everyday cars by Levantes, or are they making special one-off cars in this the MC20s?
That MC20 looks beautiful, though.
It does,
It does.
but you would not give a crap about the looks if you bought one brand new.
Really? How
And
much?
you lost probably about 60, 70,000 pounds over a couple of hundred miles.
No.
Easy.
Okay, so what was the list on them? Do you know roughly?
220, 230 list.
Uh-huh.
And you could probably pick them up for about 170, 160.
No.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's one for the future, though? Like, you buy that, and I mean, especially if it goes bust, then that would be the last, flagship Maserati ever
That
made.
probably won't help
And this
the
is a
situation,
heritage brand, by the way. Remember?
Yeah.
1914 has a lot of provenance. They've got a lot of classic
I
cars.
think because it had such a bad stigma attached to behind the model, like people weren't so keen on it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to work against it. But there is one Maserati that I think will forever live in people's collections.
Yeah.
It's the MC12. Now that is one car that has just continuously gone up in value.
That's timeless look as well, isn't it?
I mean,
Right?
that is, in comparison, directly rivaling the Ferrari Enzo.
Yeah.
Albeit not as valuable as the Enzo, but it's seen to be sat on a pedestal up there with that Ferrari hypercar. So that's probably one for the future. I mean, it's such a rare car with under 100 of them actually being built worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I remember reading that it's got the same engine as the Enzo, right?
Yeah, I think it's built on the same chassis as well.
Same chassis, same engine. I think they just tuned it a little bit differently, but
And developed by Michael Schumacher.
No way.
Yep.
He had an input on it.
Definitely. Yep. Absolutely. He did the 430 Scuderia, and then he also did the MC and the Enzo.
Bloody hell.
He was testing around the Fiorano track, so
That's so cool.
he's done his stamp of approval on it to make sure.
They must be worth so much money now, eh?
Yeah.
Definitely into the millions. They were approaching about 1 million a couple of years ago when you find them on the open market, but so hard to find now. I'm sure they're going for millions.
Wow. Okay, well, on to more newer hypercars. I was reading an article about the 10 top hypercars over the last few years, and I think it was an autocar or something like that. But the top one of the top ones was Valkyrie,
Yep.
Aston Martin.
I mean, that's pretty much a Formula One car for the road.
Really?
That is an insane car.
There's some crazy people that own it, eh? Max Verstappen, David Coulthard, Adrian Newey.
Yeah. You just named pretty much F1 royalty there.
Yeah.
Anyone in F1 would probably want the Valkyrie because it is as close to an F1 car you can get for road legal.
Well, you say that, but then I think the AMG one's probably a little bit closer.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I think because that actually is the 2016 Mercedes Formula One car for the road. Like, that's more Formula One style. I think Nico Rosberg just picked one up, right? And I read the other day that he turned the vehicle off when it wasn't at its optimum level, and it risked, like, there was a big problem with the car. So that's how sort of temperamental this car is. It needs to be warmed up to a certain temperature before you can even switch it off. So it is that complicated. But also, one of my customers has got one coming in. Whatever the list was, 2.4 million, whatever it was. He was then told, after he's taken the deposit, that every, I think, few years, 4 or 5 years, or maybe 31,000 miles, the engine needs a full rebuild. It's going to cost £850,000.
No.
Yes.
The engine.
The engine needs a full rebuild.
Why is that?
Because of that's just what I mean. It's just a Formula One car for the road. I mean, the way Mercedes-Benz have done it, to transform something that, a team of Formula One team, 20 people, mechanics, run a Formula One car, they have to make that into someone. They can just push a stop-start button and drive on the road. Yeah. That was such an incredible hard task. But that, how complicated that was, and then to make it into a road car, there's so much going into that, you know?
I do wonder sometimes, right, that you're making this beautiful work of art, but then also something that has the same power as an F1 car. And then you're driving at 15 miles an hour in Monaco from one shop to another shop. It's like, of course, something's about to go wrong, right? Yeah. Surely, because these cars aren't designed to drive at coasting speeds, right?
But then again, you can't look super cool driving an F1 car legally in Monaco. You can do that in a Project One, or you can do that in a Valkyrie.
So it's all about the looks. Yeah.
Which then brings me back to the point that the Valkyrie is a much better looking car than the Project One, in my opinion. I know it's a matter of opinion.
I'd say that the Valkyrie looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, it does.
I think they're a bit conservative with the AMG ones, styling. They could have gone a little bit more crazy. But you're right. I think the Valkyrie, and the rear, like the diffuser, you can sort of see through it. You know, it looks really, really good.